I believe that the cardinal virtues of the individual are courage, honesty, temperance, and wisdom, and that the true measure of success is service rendered to God, to country, and to mankind. That's the first paragraph of the Norwich Cadets Creed. There are several others. Every Norwich graduate, every Norwich cadet knows this creed by heart. Many of us take it seriously. I'm going to share with you a story. A few weeks ago, I received a call from a really good friend of mine. He's a statesman at the local level. I don't dare call him politician because to me, politicians are all scumbag. Whether they're Democrats or Republican, they're all criminals. So to call this friend of mine a politician would be an insult. But he is in a position of influence at the local level. So at any rate, he called me and he said, "Joel, I need a favor." I said, "Yes, anything for you, my friend." So he explained to me over the phone what it is that he needed so that we could make a difference at the local level. So at the end of our phone conversation, I still was not clear as to what it was that he was asking me to do, but I made a commitment to him. I said, yes, I will help him. So I requested that he visit us, me and my wife, and over the weekend, and kindly explain the plan, what it is that exactly that he was looking for. So the following Saturday, he visited us, and he sat down with me and my wife, and he explained to us how things are corrupt. And we, of course, we already know this, and the plan as to how we are going to take back our nation, our community, starting at the grassroots level. So at the end of his presentation, I looked at him and I said, "So if I'm not mistaken," and I asked him, "You want me to run for office?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, I already gave you my word, so of course I'm not going to renege now." So to make a long story short, you will be running at the local level for the Republican committee chairperson for Luzerne County. As I'm speaking right now, there's a petition that's being passed around, getting signatures from friends and neighbors so that I could have I need at least 10 signatures so that my name could be placed on the ballot for the upcoming election. Many of you know where I stand on government. I've said many times that all Democrats are communists and the majority of Republicans are rhino, Republicans in name only. I happen to be a registered Republican on paper. I registered as a Republican back in the year 2000. It was when I was unaware of how things really were, how the government worked, and I voted for George Bush. And years after that, I saw how corrupt the federal government truly is, and I actually one time I considered removing my name off the Republican list and re-register as an independent. So yes, on paper, I am a Republican in name only, but not that the leftist communist type of rhino. I'm the other type of rhino. Philosophically, I embrace true libertarianism, not to be confused with liberalism. When I say libertarianism, I have had a lot of influence from statesmen like Ron Paul and his son Rand Paul. But to be honest with you, I'm a bit more to their right, because if it was up to me, I would say just disband government, because it is inherently evil, but it is what it is. I'm new at my job. When I first interviewed over 9 months ago, one of the questions, the interviewer, he was one of the executives, and he asked me a question to give him a little bit of my background. And I said, well, we came to America legally, and my parents took the right path, that I was a poor immigrant, that I enlisted in the Army, that I also served in the Army as an officer, that I got my degree in engineering, and I got my MBA through ROTC scholarship, through Army College Fund. And I also listed to him the accomplishments that I've done in the private sector as an engineer, manager, and as a strength coach, weightlifting, powerlifting coach. And he looked at me and he said, he seemed impressed. I don't know why. And he said, "Wow, you achieved the American dream." And I did not know how to answer that question, and I just basically smiled and I said, yes, I'd like to think so. But deep inside, when he said that, to be honest with you, I thought about my children, because how do I reconcile achieving the American dream, knowing that this country is falling apart, knowing that my children, if we continue this path, my children will eventually live under tyranny? How do I reconcile that? As vocal as I am when it comes to politics, and I'm not political, I'm not a political person. I promote freedom and liberty, but to me, this is a calling. It's not an opportunity. Opportunity would be like, hey Joel, if you invest in a goat farm, in 6 months you're gonna get 10%, 50% return. That's an opportunity. An opportunity would be somebody saying, hey Joel, I have this free goat for you. He only has one eye and 3 legs, but it's free. That's an opportunity. And of course I would take good care of that 3-legged goat, because it is an opportunity. But serving the community, entering office, to me is not an opportunity. It's a calling. And this is something that I feel that was placed on my lap for a reason, and maybe it's a divine calling. I don't know. Kind of like a lot of my friends, when I ask them, you majored in engineering, how did you become a pastor? Or you used to be an infantry officer, now you're a pastor. And a lot of times they've answered me, it's a calling. So entering an office as a public servant, that is also a calling, and that is something that we should all take seriously. And when I left the Army, one of the things I promised was I would never work for the government, or I would never work for the military-industrial complex. But to me, this calling, it's not working for government. This is truly a way to represent the people at the local level, and hopefully make a difference. The federal government, it's shot to shit. The state government, it's shot to shit. I'm convinced that voting does not work at that level. But at the local level, it still matters, because you see who your local representatives are. You know who they are. Literally, you see them on the street. You see them at church. If I see my tax collector, it's usually I look at him with disdain, because taxation is theft, and tax collectors are thieves. So it does matter at the local level, and this is a way for those of us who embrace freedom and liberty to hopefully start changing things around at the grassroots level. So we'll see whether I get in or not. It doesn't really matter. My goal really is to stay who I am. I'm not going to change for anybody. I'm not going to allow the system to corrupt me. I will continue to fight the good fight and continue to be passionate about the things that I believe in. So, if you're wondering, the last sentence of that Norwich Cadets Creed, it ends like this: and finally to fight, and if need be die, in defense of the cherished institutions of America. And with that, the Sovereign Goat Man is out.